Hello and welcome. This is the Zen community of Oregon, making the teachings of the Buddha Dharma accessible to support your practice. New episodes air every week.
Thank you. Well, we start off with taking refuge, putting our trust in the transcendental truths, the truths that are bigger than this or that, truths that are bigger than situations and circumstances, that are bigger than our particular view of the world. So we take refuge in the Buddha mind, the Buddha. We take refuge in the Dharma, all those teachings that point to the clear mind, that point to the unequivocal nature of the inclusive reality, and then take refuge in the Sangha, the good hearts of people, the awareness of people, the interconnection, the relationship with people. Take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. All right. So this weekend, we had a nice retreat up at the monastery. It's called the Resilient Heart. And we had set this retreat up because people were so distressed. There was so much anxiety and worry about the circumstances of our country and, of course, the circumstances of our environment, the circumstances of our society, government, all those things. That really, people were, certainly when we set the title of that retreat, there was a lot of distress. And so I decided that we should do a whole retreat on, well, how do you find equanimity and clarity in the midst of this crazy life? Now, the first place that we start, of course, is the world is crazy. You know, people they shoot themselves, we shoot ourselves in the foot, we do things that harm ourselves, we want to save money and save the earth, and yet we squander resources. I mean, we're just full of contradictions. You know, society is full of contradictions. So that actually is the way things are. So how do we find clarity, compassion, and respond in a way that's appropriate in the midst of the contradictory nature of reality, the obstreperous nature of human beings? How do we find a place of equanimity so we can have compassion without self-harm, so we can include our body and mind, we include all parts of ourselves in this life? Now, the first place we'll start is in Dharma, in Buddhism, the Buddha Dharma is simply a set of observations that the Buddha made, that the great teachers made, that didn't actually begin with Shakyamuni Buddha 2,500 years ago, but they're observations about the nature of life, about the nature of truth, about the nature of the inclusive mind. And what tends to happen is, as time goes on, some of the truths in all the different traditions get covered over with dogma, with opinion, with righteousness, with ego, and they get lost. And then some other kind of prophet or some other awakened person comes along and says, no, all this stuff that we got confused about, all this dogma and all these opinions and right and wrong and this and that's all on the side. Here's the fundamental truth. And the way we think about it in Buddhism is every millennia or so, a few millennia, some person like the Buddha arrives that has a clarity of mind about the inclusive nature of reality. And we can say that in all the great religious traditions, there have been people who woke up, who were trying to say in ways that are appropriate to their particular time and condition and their particular culture, what are the transcendental, the fundamental truths that really are the place of liberation. And all the great mystics in all the traditions, the great mystics who are really the people that group of people who says it's direct experience, the direct experience of God, the direct experience of Buddha nature, the direct experience of the one mind, the direct experience of Allah, the direct experience of Brahma, the direct experience, that's the sine qua non of meditation practice. That's the essence of meditation practice, is that direct experience. And then the expression of that, of course, is individually and culturally unique. So the insight, one of the insights that we can all have is the nature of reality, if that's the right word, is inclusive. And the way that we know that is we look at our own mind and we realize, oh, awareness itself is aware of everything. It's aware of people on the right, it's aware of people on the left, it's aware of crazy people, it's aware of sane people, it's aware of what's coming together, it's aware of what's being born, it's aware of what's dying, it's aware of the sun, it's aware of the sky, it's aware of the dark, it's aware of the night, it's even aware of not knowing. Awareness can be aware of not knowing. I'm aware I don't know. I'm aware that there's space. This fundamental place of awareness is something that is common. Now, if we look at awareness, we look directly at awareness with awareness, because you can't look at awareness with anything but awareness. We see that one of the places that we get stuck, and people get stuck, is that we mistake awareness, the fundamental alertness, aliveness, the fundamental inclusive nature of mind, heart, whatever you want to call it. It's before name, it's before the words, before language. We get caught in thinking that thought and words, our assessment, our stories, are the truth. That which is aware of story, that which is aware of thought, is not thinking. That which is aware of thought is not thinking. So, if we're holding up my hand, and the whole background were exactly the same color as my hand, you wouldn't see it. This Earth, so they say, is traveling at 900 miles a second. But we don't have any sense of that because there's no contrast. If we were sitting, 50 feet off the ground and watching the Earth down below and not moved along by gravity and the atmosphere, and watching the world whirring by at that speed, we would be, oh yes, it's obvious. Because we could see it because there was a place outside of it that was able to see the contrast. When we can't see the contrast, we can't step outside of something, we can't it is, well, that's a different point. So, when we see things that are transient, hand moves from the left to the right, or in your case, moves from your right to your left, we see that which sees is just aware. It's not aware of good things, it's not aware of bad things, it's aware of everything. This is the nature of mind. So the place that we start with practice is we begin to, first off, we get confused and we think that our thoughts, our opinions, our judgments, our stories are not just something in the field of awareness passing by, but they're telling us the truth. In Buddhism, the observation that the way that we express that is there is suffering. The cause of suffering is that we think that that which is fleeting and passing is real. We think, oh, that's the truth. My thoughts are telling me the truth. And then we cling to thought. We cling to things that are inherently transient. So, When we start clinging to thoughts, the idea that I am sitting here, I am, is a thought. Is a thought. I am. I see the floor. There's a thought of I am, there's the thought of I see the floor. There's the thought of the floor. There's a thought of this, there's a thought of that. When we look at what sees thought, thought is not what sees thought. Thought is not what's aware of thought. We have emotions, up and down, in and out, easy and hard. That which is aware of emotion is calm and centered. Because the nature of mind is big, is vast, is inclusive. It includes up and down and in and out and right and wrong. It includes everything. So when we shift our awareness from the objects and we think, oh, that's who I am, that's who I am, that's who I am, that's real, that's real, that's real, that's the way it is, that's the way it is. When we shift our awareness to awareness, it changes our relationship to the world and things. And realize, oh, this body, which is so different 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 75 years ago in some of our cases. So different, as so many iterations. When we shift, say, oh, there's a pattern that just keeps unfolding, and that pattern is just a pattern. There are thoughts that keep unfolding and keep unfolding and keep unfolding, and they're just patterns of thoughts. And when we shift from awareness into that's true, that's the truth, that's the truth, that's the truth, that's the truth, then if that's the truth, this is not the truth. This is right, this is wrong. This is me, that's not me. And we lose our inherent awareness of the inclusive nature of our mind. And we use the word mind because it's not really about thought. You know, the inclusive nature of our thought, inclusive nature of our emotions. It really is about the inclusive nature of awareness itself. The inclusive nature of awareness itself. So when we lose, when our practice we're looking at mindfulness. And of course, in the practice, we're paying attention to what we're doing, being mindful of what the hand does, mindful of what the mouth does, mindful of what the ear hears, mindful of what is going on right now. Grade A, number one practice, because there only can experience this moment at this time. But when we don't actually turn the awareness on awareness itself, we don't actually say, what is it that's aware? And what is it that's aware is not words. We can't figure it out with words. We say, I want to become aware of awareness, and we think, well, I can do it, I can't do it, I can see it, I can't see it. Those are all words. So part of the way to help the heart to be at ease is, first off, as we move to awareness and realize, oh, it's inclusive. And realize, oh, this whole world of my life as a mystery comes out of nowhere. How'd this happen? Where'd these words come from? Where'd these thoughts come from? It's all a miracle that just keeps bubbling up. And everything we see is a miracle. Everything we hear is a miracle. It all just keeps bubbling up out of the source of awareness. And when we begin to have that appreciation, and we can watch it, we can actually watch it. Because we go from awareness of awareness, and then awareness has clear, empty, and out of that clear emptiness, poof, everything explodes, everything comes forth. All of this comes forth. And then when we realize that, oh, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. right hand is a miracle. The left hand is a miracle. The sky is a miracle. The sun is a miracle. The earth is a miracle. Crazy people are miracles. Volcanoes are miracles. Everything is a miracle. That changes our relationship to the world, to the earth. And then, of course, we have to look at our particular bundle of karma, our particular bundle of, my DNA. We're all wearing different clothes. We all have different shapes, 4 appendages, but 20 digits. But basically, we all live in different houses. We have different lifestyles. So out of that miracle comes our unique isness, our unique way of expressing that miracle. Each person is a unique way of expressing the miracle of the fundamental truth of inclusivity and awareness. And then we regard our life as a miracle. And then, how do I function? How can I, with deep respect and appreciation of this unique life, function and relate and engage with the world? And then we stop engaging with the world as a battle. I am right. But rather, how do we engage in the world in a skillful way with relationship? And the intention, from this vantage point I'm talking about right now, the intention is reducing suffering, reducing harm, because fundamentally, loving kindness, the mystery out of which all things come, is the foundation of this miracle. Loving kindness means certain acceptance, respect, and awe that we exist at all. I don't think that's quite what I talked about this weekend, but that's where it's sort of. So, the practice is, on one level, we come because we want to get better. We want to stop the crazy thoughts. We want to become more skillful. We want to become mature as a human being. That's true. It's all true. And we emphasize the precepts all the time: not to kill, not to lie, but to speak the truth. Not to kill, but to cherish all life. And all the other 16 precepts. Of course, that's true. Of course. But underneath that is a flavor of respect, of loving kindness, of awe. Awe. How did this whole thing ever come to be? How did this life? It's a miracle. It's grace. It's a blessing.
Thank you for listening to the Zen Community of Oregon podcast, and thank you for your practice. New episodes air every week. Please consider making a donation at zendust.org. Your support supports us.